Hello, my name is Colin, and today I'm going to be doing another video. Today we'll be ranking all 9 Best Picture nominees because the Oscars are this weekend, and I want to make it clear that I loved every movie that was nominated for Best Picture this year, and I can't really say that too much because last year I didn't love Vice. I wasn't the biggest fan of Roma. I did like Roma, but it wasn't a great movie. But yeah, I loved every movie on this list, all 9 movies, and my list is probably going to be very different from yours, and they're going to be different because you have a lot of great movies, and it really just comes down to what I love more or what appeals to me more. Like, this is all opinion-based. So, with that said, let's get right into the list. Coming down at the bottom at number 9 is Little Women. Now, a lot of you guys are probably going to be like, what? Little Women, number 9? Well, I think what we have to understand is I didn't have the highest expectations for Little Women because I do love Greta Gerwig, and I liked the cast, but any movie that's like a period piece about a group of women living together and it's a bunch of artsy dresses, that's really not my kind of movie. But I actually ended up really enjoying Little Women. I related to some of the characters at points. I thought Saoirse Ronan gave a great performance. Greta Gerwig had great direction. The score, the editing, the costume design, just some great cinematography. And I never really knew too much about the Joe March story, and I just found it very inspiring at times. Laura Dern was great. Bob Odenkirk was great when he was in there. So it's just a very well-acted movie with a pretty solid script, but I think the performances really elevate this movie to being great. Florence Pugh is also really great. She was nominated for the Academy Award for Supporting Actress. And I did love Little Women. It's definitely not one of my favorite movies of the year. Like, when people tell me this is like one of the 10 best films of the year, I'm like, I think you're overrating a little bit, but Little Women's a pretty great movie. It has a few pacing issues, like some of the storytelling, like some of the flashback sequences at times can be really confusing. Some characters I thought could have been fleshed out a little more, and it does overstay its welcome, because in the last 20 minutes, each minute, I thought it was going to end right there, because it was so long, but Little Women's a pretty great movie. I don't have the urge to necessarily rewatch it, but I loved it. It's number 9. Coming at number 8 is Ford versus Ferrari. Now, I love James Mangold. Walk the Line, 3:10 to Yuma, great movies. He directed Logan, which is my second favorite comic book film of all time, and even one of my favorite movies of all time. I love Logan so much. But James Mangold made a great movie, Ford v Ferrari. Stars Matt Damon, Christian Bale. It has a lot to do with NASCAR in the 1970s. It's a good crowd pleaser. A lot of the car scenes are very well done. The editing's great. Some beautiful cinematography. It's got some good quotes in there. It's one of Matt Damon's best performances. Christian Bale also does give a great performance, but an issue I did have was his accent. It takes you out of the movie a little bit. Like, I just think that you could have put in a different actor if you're going to have him do that accent. Like, I just didn't think he had to do the accent, because it just didn't sound that good coming out of Christian Bale's mouth. But I thought this was a very fun movie with great performances, a few pacing issues in the first act, and yeah, Christian Bale's voice. I don't think it's like one of the 5 best movies of the year, like some people say, but it's a very fun movie. I'm surprised it got nominated for Best Picture. This doesn't seem like the type of movie they'd nominate, but great, very well edited, and I had fun watching it. Overall, I give Ford vs. Ferrari a solid 3 out of 4 stars. Not one of my favorite movies of the year, but I did really love it, and it is a great movie. James Mangold's direction, just fantastic. Alright, now, each movie in the top 7 made my Best of the Year lists. In fact, my number 7 was right outside my top 10 list. I really want to sneak it in there, and that movie is Parasite. Okay, so what you have to understand is, I loved Parasite. I think it's a terrific film, just so well crafted by Bong Joon-ho. I think the acting is amazing. Even the child actor is really great, and the movie, the first act is like a dark comedy, but like it just has these crazy tonal shifts in the second act. The second act of this movie is so intense and suspenseful. It's easily my favorite part of the movie. And Parasite, like, it's very original, very well executed, and a lot of times when you have a movie that makes big tonal shifts like that, it doesn't have, like, the most coherent script, but this movie's actually very coherent. I thought it was very well paced for the most part. I did think that it did have some slow-paced moments that I thought dragged a bit, but that doesn't take away too much. But there are some stuff in the third act I thought could have been done a little better, like fleshed out. But overall, I really like these characters. I like what this movie says about middle class and how it's another one of those eat the rich movies that came out this year, and I think those themes are presented very well in here. Just very well acted, the editing, the score, like just from a filmmaking level, this movie's near perfect, and the script is fantastic. Just Parasite is a great movie almost made my top 10 list. It was an honorable mention. It's about top 15. I really love Parasite. It was one of my favorite movies last year. And a lot of you guys are going to be pissed because this is going to be one that's all the way up at number one for some of you. Like, I don't think this was one of the best films of the decade, like some people are saying. It's just another really great movie that came out this year. Very original. And I don't rewatch a lot of foreign films, so again, not quite a 4 to 4 stars for me, but a strong 3.5. I just really love Parasite. It's a fantastic movie. All right. So that was a pretty big jump between Parasite and Ford, because I did love Ford, but Parasite I just loved more. But we've kind of another bigger jump. This is the top 6. Now, all 6 of these movies made my top 10 list of last year, and I gave all of them 4 to 4 stars in my original reviews, and I stand by those ratings, because I think each movie in here is a masterpiece. So with that said, coming in at number 6 is The Irishman. Now, you have to understand, I love The Irishman. I did get to rewatch it recently, and I know a lot of people do think The Irishman's overrated because they think the runtime's too long, or they think it's just Scorsese kind of tooting his own horn, but I just found it to be another really great, masterful piece of work from Martin Scorsese. I found it to be very educational at times because I didn't know too much about the Jimmy Hoffa case, and Robert De Niro, his performance is so complex in this movie, like just the emotion he brings to the character in the third act, like the way this movie ends, like it really makes you question the choices you make in life and just how you're going to end up, and it's just this epic mob movie, and it's always nice to see Scorsese return to that, because Goodfellas is my favorite movie of all time, and it's the best mob movie we've had in definitely a while. Joe Pesci's fantastic, Al Pacino's fantastic. Great, it's very well acted. I don't really have any problems with The Irishman. I do feel the length when I watch it, but it flies by for the most part. And the dialogue's great. It's another great movie from Martin Scorsese. The soundtrack's fantastic. I just love The Irishman so much. It was one of my favorite movies of last year. And as a Scorsese fan and as a big fan of mob movies, I'll probably rewatch this one for years to come. Just really, really great movie. Loved The Irishman. I just don't have any negative things to say about it. Now, coming down at number 5, again, these 6 movies, I love them all so much. I want to squeeze them into the top 3, but that's not how ranking works. So, surprising me a lot, coming down at number 5 is Jojo Rabbit. Now, I stand by what I said in my original review. Jojo Rabbit is a satirical masterpiece and probably one of the best satires we've had in a long time. I love Taika Waititi's direction, just the balls he had to make an anti-hate satire on Nazis and Hitler, and Roman Griffin Davis gave the best child performance of the year. He is so charming in this role. Scarlett Johansson also gave one of the best performances of the year. I'm glad she got nominated because she just does a great job playing this motherly figure. And you have Thomasin McKenzie, another up-and-coming actress, very great. Just a very well-acted movie, and Taika Waititi himself playing Hitler. I think the soundtrack for this movie is pretty awesome. I like a lot of the themes, how it's better to accept people and not hate. Like, it might be a little predictable for some people. Like Jojo Rabbit, it's not a movie for everyone because, again, when your protagonist is a little boy that wants to be a Nazi, that's not going to be the most profitable film for everybody. But I loved it. I love this movie so much. It's a lot like Wes Anderson's style, like the direction, the music, and I thought it was very well paced. And I just love JoJo's character arc, how he rejects Hitler's ideals and just learns to respect Elsa as a fellow human being of his in the end. It's just such an inspiring story, and it's one that I think it didn't do the best at the box office as some of these other movies. I think this movie will almost get like a cult following in future years because it's just such a great movie. I love Jojo Rabbit. It was one of my 10 favorite movies of last year. It's a masterpiece. Coming in at number 4. Okay, again, this list is hard. Putting this at number 4 hurts me. Number 4 is Joker. I freaking love Joker. Joker has been nominated for 11 Oscars. That is incredible, because I remember I said in my review, Joaquin Phoenix gave the best performance of the year, and he probably deserves a Best Actor. He probably deserved to win the Oscar, but he likely won't get nominated since it's a comic book film and he's playing the Joker. So I kind of assumed the Oscars would sleep on it, but surprising me, Joker got 11 Oscar nominations. Best Picture, Best Director. I'm so happy because I love Joker, and I really think that it's one of those movies that shows how when you ignore someone or when society just rejects a person, sometimes that person turns to a darker side, and they really build up to Arthur's descent into madness and how he becomes the Joker. And Joaquin Phoenix, like, he gave the best performance of the year. He just completely disappears into the role. Like, some of the scenes where he's dancing, and that whole scene with Robert De Niro, who's great as Murray, that one scene on the Murray Franklin show, that's my favorite scene in the movie, just because the acting, I think, is some of the best we've seen in a long time. And the ending is something that I think we're going to interpret for years, when it's like, you don't get it, and then the soundtrack's also really great. The score is very immersive. I just like the dark tone and how Todd Phillips shows Gotham City. Joker's a masterpiece. There's tons of other things I love about it. I could ramble on. I mean, no, some people find it to be very overrated because they think it's like a knockoff of Taxi Driver and The King of Comedy. And I did mention in my review, it's very influenced by those two films, but I still think it's a wholly original film, even if it does have some similarities. I think this movie does a great job of standing on its own, on its themes, and its character work with Arthur, and just what the movie has to say about our society and mental illness and violence. And I just think this is a film that's going to appeal to many people, and I think that's what comic book movies are trying to do now. They want to have themes, they want to be groundbreaking, and I think Joker just hit the nail on the head. One of the best comic book movies of all time, probably one of the best performances in a long time from Joaquin Phoenix, and Joker's just a masterpiece overall. I want to put it higher, but these top three, it's really hard, because all three of these movies are in my top 5 of last year, and I want to put all of them at number 1 because I love them so much. So, surprisingly enough, my number 3 is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Now, I freaking love Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. This movie is so great. It's just it kind of has a satire vibes with how it portrays Hollywood in the 1960s with violence, and I just think Tarantino shows that so well. Tarantino's my favorite director, and while I don't think this is like near Pulp Fiction or Django in terms of how great it is, but I just think it's another masterpiece added to Tarantino's filmography. I love Leonardo DiCaprio's performance, the scene where he's like yelling at himself. I think that's maybe the funniest scene he's ever done. I think Brad Pitt gave quite possibly the best performance of his career, right up there with Seven and Fight Club. Just such a great performance. He's definitely going to win Best Supporting Actor. And I would be very happy. Any movie in the top 6 or 7, I would be fine with winning Best Picture, but these three, like, Tarantino's never won Best Picture, and if they give it to him as like a Lifetime Achievement Award, I'd be very happy with that, because the cinematography and the ending, Margot Robbie as Sharon Tate, like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, is just such a unique, and it's a Tarantino fairy tale, and I just think that Tarantino does something much more mature than the average director would with a story like this. And yeah, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, it's a masterpiece, and I have to admit to myself, I do think this is one of Tarantino's best, because I did rewatch it recently, and it really holds up. Just such a fun movie. I love Once Upon a Time in Hollywood so much. I want to put it at 1, but these top 2 are here. Now, 2 and 1, I could really go back and forth. My number 2 is Marriage Story. Now, Marriage Story emotionally broke me. This was the one movie last year that like truly made me cry, because this movie just feels so real. Because you have this couple going through divorce, these two people, Scarlett Johansson and Adam Driver, giving 2 of the best performances of the decade, right up there with Joaquin for the year, and just such visceral acting from them. They just completely disappear into the roles, and I felt like I was watching a real couple. I just felt like I was, it felt like I was like watching somebody's personal lives, and I just forgot I was watching a movie, because this movie emotionally resonated with me so much. It has a lot of moments where it's really sad, but also moments where it's really charming and even sometimes funny. I thought Ray Liotta was great. Laura Dern was fantastic. A lot of people think she's going to win the Oscar, and I really am pushing for Johansson to win Best Actress, because this is, in my opinion, her best performance. And Marriage Story, it's a film that just really resonates with me, and I think that a lot of people are going to resonate with this movie for years to come. It's a lot like Kramer versus Kramer in a way like that. I just think this perfectly shows the negatives and the positives of divorce. And it shows in the end, it doesn't matter who gets the money or who gets the kid, the real winners in a divorce are the lawyers, because they're just saying these awful things about each other, and it's just to get... And the kid, Henry, he was also great. I thought the actor that played him did a very well done job. I just really love Marriage Story. I think it's a near perfect film for what it tries to do. It's just so real, and I know I said that probably for the 10th time when I'm talking about this, but It is. It's probably one of my favorite films of the decade too. I just love it so much. It's easily the best Netflix movie ever made. As much as I love The Irishman, it just doesn't come close to Marriage Story. Marriage Story is an absolute masterpiece, and in my opinion, Noah Baumbach's best film. The score, the editing. I'm surprised some people aren't pushing this for Best Picture. I would like to see it win, but number one, I think, is probably going to be the movie that wins. And number one is the best war movie of the decade. I'm sad to admit that I didn't wait the extra 2 weeks to put this on my best of the year list, because this probably would have been like number two up there with Endgame, one of my favorite films of the decade, and that is 1917, which I actually just saw for the second time the other night. 1917 is a roaring masterpiece and one of the greatest war movies ever. This film is emotionally uplifting. Our two main characters are really great. The performances are great. And just the cinematography, the editing, from a filmmaking standpoint, this movie is perfect. Like, the tracking shots, it's incredible. And the ending's, like, perfect for how it begins, and just, like, everything. It all feels like just one long scene. And, like, it flies by. Like, I was looking at my watch. I couldn't believe that much time was going by. Like, I just enjoyed every second of it. And it was well-paced. And I know some people, like, they might want, like, more action, but, like, that trench scene at the end, I think that's one of the best scenes in a war movie in a long time. And, yeah, I do think 1917, it is the front runner to win Best Picture. Sometimes war movies don't win, but 1917 is just such a masterpiece. Sam Mendes, the best directed film of the entire year, easily. Sam Mendes' direction is just fantastic. The music by Newman, great. I just love 1917 so much. Alright guys, so that was my list. You probably agreed with me on a lot of my opinions, and you probably disagreed on some of them. Some of you guys, I know, you're going to give me shit for putting Parasite at 7. I love Parasite, but I just love those other 6 more. And my top 3, like, again, I could go back and forth. Like, you don't have to have the tightest ranking, because I just love all these movies, and I'm going to rewatch some of them for years to come. Alright guys, thanks for watching my video today. Please make sure to put your list in the comments, and also make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more movie-related content. Thank you all for watching, and I will hasta la vista.